Thank you for tuning in to another Blender tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys everything I know about the Bevel Modifier. Here we have the Bevel Modifier applied to a cube. Let's show you what the width does. As you increase the width of the bevel increases. You can go past this if you increase it to the point that it gets to the center. It won't do anything more if you have this clamp overlap selected. With the clamp overlap deselected, it will allow you to go past the center and actually turn the cube inside out, as you can see there. And you'll get to inside out, and you'll keep going and going and going and going. Anyway, for most projects you'll want that checked. Segments is how round it's going to be. So increase that, and you can see that now these edges are, well, more round. Profile determines how concave or convex it is. So if you go all the way to 1, it's going to be a cube, and as you go down approaching 0, it starts to be more concave. You can go down to 0.15. It won't allow you to go any lower than that. The width method, let's turn this back down to 1 to show you what the width method is. The width method is how the bevels are measured. So if you choose offset, it measures this square against the square of the actual object, this square. If you have the width selected, it measures the edge of the bevel from there to there, just the width across the flat. If you have the depth enabled, it measures the bevel from this flat to this corner along one axis. And so in this case, the case of this flat to this corner, it'd be measured along the x-axis. From this flat to this corner, it's measured along the z-axis, and so forth. Percent is a little different. It's the percentage of the cube that is beveled. And so at 25%, it's 25% beveled. 50%, it's halfway there. And if we turn that off, at 100%, it is all the way completely beveled inside out. And so you can see it's turned itself inside out there if we turn the wireframe mode on. If we turn clamp overlap on, it turns that all off. Same thing with as self-explanatory. You can see the only vertices. It's only going to clamp the verts instead of clamping the edges now. So let's turn this down a little bit so you can see what I mean. 10 is going to be too big still, 0.4. So now we're just knocking the corners off of it instead of knocking the edges off of it. In order to show you some of these other these details, we're going to have to switch to a more complex model. So let's switch over to Suzanne here. So I've got the same bevel modifier applied to Suzanne, and we're going to show you the different methods, the different limit methods you have for the bevel. So if you have none selected, every bevel is going to be, where did we go? There we go. Every bevel is going to be, or every edge is going to be beveled. With the angle on, depending on where you have the slider and what the angle between the planes is, and so I mean this plane and this plane create an angle right there. It's going to determine at what point it bevels. And so if you only need to add a little bit of curvature, or in this case just a little bit of chamfer, you can do so there. Weight will take the bevel weight, and you can see here that I have a bevel going around here, but none of the other objects are beveled. It's because in object mode, if we turn on edges, you can see these edges here are orange. That's because they have a bevel weight applied to them. You can get a bevel weight on something by selecting the edges you want to bevel, going to Mesh, Edges, Edge Bevel Weight, and then it's a slider. So as you increase it, it increases, just like so. And that's all there is to it. Vertex Group is another way of doing things. And so if we selected a bunch of vertices here, and we go to our vertex groups, we go to our vertex groups, and we assign them to this group. Now these edges are beveled because we have this group selected. This group doesn't have any vertices assigned to it, so if we click that, everything should be the same. If we have this group selected, it bevels all the vertices we have there. Especially useful if you need more control and you're only going to be using vertices. The last thing is material. It basically determines what material is going to be on the bevel. So the default material for this, the material that's assigned to everything, is the default material. And then as we increase this, it's now going to be green because that's the next one in the list. And if we click it again, it'll be red because that's the next one in the list. It'll go down to -1, which would be the material preceding it in the list if you had one. Anyway, that's everything I know about the Bevel Modifier. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I do read all my comments. Thanks for watching.